Welcome back, everyone, here on Boston has entered the chat on Nesson. We welcome in our first guest of the program, Carl Dukes, who is a popular personality there in Atlanta, covers the Falcons, all the other teams. Really, we should talk about Kristaps Porzingis just a little bit with the Celtics back in action in Philadelphia tonight. Happy Halloween to you, sir. You didn't dress up for us.
I put my costume on yet. You guys look great, by the way. It's coming. Trust me. We're big Halloween folks, so it's all about the festivities and everything that goes on in and around Halloween. So I will be dressed up a little bit later. I'll send pics.
I failed Adam a little bit today, but I promise. I mean, I made so much of an effort. So we're on the same page, Carl. Don't let him guilt us. We have time.
He's making me feel guilty. He's like, it's early. You didn't dress up. I'm like, I couldn't go to bed in my costume last night.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us bright and early. Why aren't you dressed in your Halloween garb, full makeup? Carl, let's talk Patriots Falcons here in Foxborough this weekend. The Pats are favorites, understandably so. They've got this winning streak. Your Falcons, I'm going to call them your Falcons, have cost me some money this year with their Jekyll and Hyde performances, man. Because, I mean, look, they've beaten the Bills, the Vikings, the Commanders, but they've lost by 30 in Carolina, lost most recently to the Dolphins. We just got another look last night at what this team is. So I don't know, and I know like it was Kirk Cousins, not Michael Penix Jr., there was no Drake London, so both those guys, they could, and you can shed some intel, they could return this weekend. We expect a better performance than obviously what we saw from Atlanta against Miami, but I don't week to week know what to expect from this team.
Do we? The problem. They've been so inconsistent throughout the course of this season, specifically on offense. And Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator who came over with Raheem Morris from the Rams when he got the job, has been, criticized to the utmost. And it partly has to do with the inconsistency, the predictability somewhat of this offense, and their inability to score in the red zone. So what you're seeing is all of those things combined, and week to week, you're not sure what you're going to get. Michael Penix is expected to play. Talked to Raheem Morris just a day or so ago, and he said things look really good. He's been at practice. He is listed as limited, but we do expect him to be out there. But the Falcons are dealing with some other injuries, including Jesse Bates, who thought it was an ankle. It was a knee. One of the best safeties in the league, hopefully will be on the field on Sunday for the Patriots game. But they literally, it's not the injuries, guys. It's more about the consistency of this offense. And what you saw last night with Miami, you alluded to it, is why Falcon fans are so distraught right now, because they came limping in here 1-6. What happened last night and the way the Ravens handled them is what should have happened last week with the Falcons, and it didn't. And so you've had 3 duds. All 3 of your losses have been duds offensively. They've got to find a way to fix that.
So maybe kind of a 2-part question here, because for one, are you describing a bit of an identity crisis? And then for 2, going into a matchup trying to be a little less predictable, well, kind of one of their strong arms here is being able to run the ball against their opponents. And then you're going against a Patriots defense where that's kind of their strong suit. So Penix coming back, is that going to give them an opportunity to change their approach a little bit to put them in this matchup?
Well, Kirk Cousins last week, everybody thought throwing him out there, he is the most expensive backup in the league. They were not going to attempt to trade him. They told us that in the summer. He's going to be here. We got the best quarterback room. They played him last week, and he was hot garbage. I mean, he did not play well at all. And so now you go, well, is it the quarterback or is it the system? What's happening with the inconsistencies of this offense? And to answer your question about Michael Penix, certainly, Michael Penix's upside is incredible. This kid has all the intangibles. Ironically, we spoke with Kalen DeBoer yesterday on my radio show at Alabama, and he was his coach at Washington, and he was talking about how he's built, and he's going to be able to come into his own. But Michael Penix doesn't even have a full season under his belt, so he is a guy that's still figuring it out. And on top of that, his stretch the field guy and Darnell Mooney has not been available. Darnell Mooney has been injured as well. What the Falcons have to do more consistently is, in fact, run the football with Bijan Robinson and not go away from it. When Bijan touches the ball 25 times or more, this team wins, period. It doesn't matter if it's screen passes, quick hitters, running the ball up the middle, stretch plays. It doesn't matter how you get him the ball. So that has not happened in the losses in which the Falcons have endured. So you've got to find a way to continue to give him the ball. And I think they're going to attempt to do that against this stout Patriots defense. But something's got to give, because the Falcons are number 1 in pass defense in the league. So is Drake Maye not going to challenge the Falcons secondary? I doubt that. Something's going to give on Sunday.
Yeah, Patriots, of course, a top 5 run defense, have yet to allow a single running back 50-plus rushing yards in a game this year. It's been an incredible run. Bijan fully equipped to be the type of guy that could break that run, of course, but he's also a guy that can kill you out of the backfield as a receiver. So doesn't necessarily have to rush to be impactful. But you just brought it up. You know, in terms of the pass defense for Atlanta, I think that's one of the things going into this game. The Patriots, you know, they've won 5 straight, coming off a real dog walking of the Cleveland Browns. And Cleveland's not a good team, but that defense is exceptional. And yet Maye, for the 7th straight time, record-tying 7th straight time, 200-plus passing yards, a 100-plus passer rating. But you said it. #1 pass defense in the NFL for Atlanta. And so how do the Falcons hope to slow him down here?
It's interesting because asking Raheem Morris and Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator for the Falcons this week, how do you describe Drake Maye? And we played the Bills a few weeks ago, and Josh Allen, who obviously is an MVP in this league and is a special individual, and they compared Drake Maye in a similar way to Josh Allen. Now, that's a hell of a compliment, but I just think, like, when you think about his size, his arm talent, and he's not afraid to tuck in and run for some yards and move the chains, you are going to be challenged this week, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. So I think the game plan is to try to limit some of the things, obviously, he does really well right now, but they know this is going to be a challenge. And, you know, ironically, they were able to beat the Bills, which is, and now you look at this team and you go, what's happened the last few weeks, which we get back to the inconsistency. But they feel confident that they can put a plan together as they did against that Bills team and challenge Drake in a similar way. And I will say this, New England's found their franchise quarterback. I had my doubts. We talked about it a lot, even coming into the season, because they were on the schedule, and now we're here. And he's having a heck of a season, there's no doubt.
You mentioned tuck and run and that kind of being a fearful thing to face. Like, where does the confidence lie in this Falcons defense if that's what Drake Maye goes to? Because we are seeing him be a little bit more intentional and less panicked. And we actually just had his high school coach on yesterday to talk about just kind of any weaknesses he may have sniffed out when it comes to this kid. And he said, no, if anything, I think I held him back because he wanted to run the ball and he wanted to come up with those big plays for his team. But I didn't want to see a mobile quarterback in my system in high school. I wanted to protect him. But now he's starting to get some of that freedom. So while we're talking about his MVP campaign and him airing out the ball with designed runs, this is something he's very capable of doing, and he really hasn't had that big game yet to do so. This could potentially be a spot. Is there any concern here for the Falcons?
Yeah, absolutely. And part of this has to do with Divine Diablo, who was having an unbelievable season at linebacker for the Falcons, got injured. He's out maybe weeks, maybe longer. And with him being unable to play, he's a guy with speed and length that the Falcons really utilized against a guy potentially like Drake Maye. I think it's one of the reasons why they were able to contain Josh Allen when they played the Bills a few weeks ago. But he's not on the field. And so J.D. Bertrand, a Notre Dame product, has been taking his spot. Last week, he struggled a little bit in some pass coverage issues. So I do think what you're saying about Drake and incorporating him in the run game with the Patriots is a concern because of what we saw last week. Now, we know it's a week-to-week league, and certainly they could fix those issues. But I hope that isn't one of the storylines as this game plays out on Sunday, where Drake is, forcing the issue with the read options, and then all of a sudden you're seeing big plays down the field because of him delivering the ball to his guys.
Carl, Patriots was 6-2, far from perfect on the field, though. There are certainly issues to correct. One of them defensively is that they have allowed points on the first drive of the game, 6 of these 8 games so far. I'm just curious, maybe some of this is mental, kind of how Atlanta is built in that locker room, meaning if the Patriots get down early, we've seen it. They don't crumble. They stay within their game. They find a way to rebound. More often than not, they win. If Atlanta falls down early in this game, are the Falcons going to turtle, or are they in it there for a while?
It's an interesting question as well, because the Falcons have only scored twice on their opening drives all season. Oh, wow. So when they have had control of games and have been in control, those are the games they've won. in the games they've not had control of, and they get, the first drive and they miss a field goal, or they come down 3 and out, and the other team, regardless of who it's been, gets the ball back and goes down and scores. That has been games in which the Falcons have had some issues. The games they've won, guys, they've been in control of. So I'm not sure how to answer that question. It's funny because we were chopping this up on my show as well about how is this team built to come from behind. And I'm not talking about 3 points. Again, if it's 10, 14, are they able to do that? To be quite honest, guys, they want to run the ball, they want to control the clock, and they want to play stout defense. And it sounds old school. It sounds Mike Vrabel-ish, to be quite honest with you. But that's kind of this formula, is run the football, control the clock, and not have Michael Penix have to throw the football 50 times. That is not the formula for the Falcons to win. And if they get behind, that is what's going to have to happen. So to answer that, I would tell you that they're not going to cave, but certainly they've had difficulties in coming from behind early in games because they just don't score on their first drives for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you just gave us some keys to a victory if the Falcons can find one versus this Patriots team tonight. Not that New England wants to hear that, but what is your prediction of how this will all play out, seeing as how everything goes according to plan for both sides?
Look, I don't want to overhype this, but Raheem Morris is catching a lot of heat, guys. And it has a lot to do with how these losses have transpired. It's still really early in the season. He mentioned to us and said, look, when I was with the Rams, he won a Super Bowl with Sean McVay as the defensive coordinator. During that season, we went on a stretch where we lost 4 games. And everybody thought, the roof was caving in. You go through stretches in the NFL where you've got to overcome some obstacles. But I think there's a lot of pressure to show not only the fan base, but Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, that this is under control. We are not this bad offensively. We can score in the red zone. We are going to get our playmakers the football, and we're going to do it in an efficient way. And so I predict the Falcons will play really well coming off of a disappointing loss against the Dolphins. Will they play well enough to win on the road? That is really the question. And if this run game is stifled, the question for me and most Falcon fans is, what is the plan for Zach Robinson? What does he pivot to? How does he implement plan B to get other guys involved if Bijan and Tyler Algier, the 2 running backs who are great, get stifled by this run defense? So I think it'll be a close game, guys. And I do predict that the Falcons will go up there and handle business because I feel like there's a sense of urgency that they haven't had based on the fact of the criticism they've been facing here in Atlanta.
So Patriots win by 7, cover the number, and come Monday morning, Raheem Morris is looking for work. You heard it right there from Carl in Atlanta. Beautiful.
No, look, I think, and I think the world of Mike Vrabel, man. I think he's unbelievable. He came in and immediately instilled a culture there, and he's got some guys. It's funny, and you guys know this, when you talk to players on that team, and they're like, from where we were with 4 wins the last 2 seasons, and Mike comes in here, and the culture that's already been instilled, it's unbelievable. So they've got a bright future with Mike Vrabel, but I think Raheem will have his team ready, and we're going to see what happens on Sunday. I'm excited to see if this team can respond.
Carl Dukes, 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, on Twitter at Put'emUpCDukes. Carl, thank you so much. Look forward to chatting with you again, sir.
My man. Hey, guys, take care. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
All right, beautiful. We're going to come on back, talk some Celtics at the Sixers, the beginning of the sophisticated Emirates NBA Cup. That is next. John Lyons, WEEI, joins us.